Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that the person you loved for years has already fallen in love with someone else. Not months later, not even weeks, just days. Your first instinct is almost always the same. They never loved me. I was easy to replace. They've completely moved on. But what if I told you the human brain is almost incapable of replacing deep emotional attachment that quickly? What if that smiling couple you're watching isn't proof of healing, but evidence of a brain desperately trying to survive? Because beneath every rebound relationship, there's a silent battle most people never see. A battle between memory and dopamine, between attachment and withdrawal, between loneliness and the terrifying fear of being alone with your own mind. And once you understand what the brain is actually doing after heartbreak, you'll never look at rebound relationships the same way again. The lie we all believe. There's something fascinating about breakups. Two people experience the same ending, yet their lives seem to split into completely different realities. One person disappears from social media, stops answering messages, sleeps less, eats less, replays every conversation over and over. The other is suddenly posting vacation pictures, laughing, holding someone else's hand, looking happier than ever. It's almost like one person is mourning while the other never cared. But appearances are some of the brain's favorite illusions. Psychologists have spent decades studying what happens after romantic loss, and what they found is surprisingly uncomfortable. Your brain doesn't treat heartbreak like sadness, it treats it like withdrawal. The same reward circuits involved in addiction become active when romantic attachment is suddenly taken away. Think about that. Your brain isn't simply missing a person, it's missing a source of emotional regulation, a predictable source of dopamine, a familiar routine, a safe place to return after stressful days. When that disappears, the brain panics, and panic rarely produces rational decisions. It produces survival strategies. One of those strategies is what we call a rebound relationship. But here's the part almost nobody understands. A rebound isn't always about finding someone new. Sometimes it's about escaping someone old. And there's a huge psychological difference. Your brain doesn't miss the person first. Here's where most people get it wrong. They assume they miss their ex because they were deeply in love. Sometimes that's true, but neuroscience suggests something even more fascinating. Your brain first misses the pattern. Imagine walking into your home at night. Without thinking, your hand reaches for the light switch. You don't consciously decide where it is. Your brain already knows. Relationships work in remarkably similar ways. For months, sometimes years, your brain builds tiny invisible habits around another person. Who you text when something funny happens, who you call after work, who sends memes to, who says goodnight, who remembers your birthday, who calms your anxiety, who celebrates your victories. These aren't just memories, they're neurological pathways. They're routines wired into your nervous system. Then, one day, they're gone. The brain suddenly encounters empty spaces everywhere. The good morning message never comes. The phone stays silent. The weekend plans disappear. The inside jokes stop existing. And your nervous system keeps waiting for a reward that never arrives. That's why people instinctively check their phones, not because they expect a message, but because their brain has learned one should be there. The pain isn't only emotional, it's predictive. The brain hates broken expectations. When reality doesn't match expectation, it produces stress, confusion, craving. That's why so many people don't actually miss the relationship first. They miss the certainty, the familiarity, the emotional rhythm. Now, here's where rebound relationships enter the story. If the brain loses one familiar pattern, it immediately starts searching for another. Not because it is healed, because uncertainty is psychologically exhausting. Imagine wandering through a dark forest. Even if the path ahead isn't perfect, you'll still choose a visible trail over standing still in complete darkness. The brain works exactly the same way. Sometimes a new relationship isn't chosen because it feels right. It's chosen because uncertainty feels unbearable. But this creates an even deeper psychological trap because replacing a routine isn't the same as healing the wound that created it. And this is where rebound relationships become far more complicated than most people realize. The loneliness that isn't actually loneliness. Here's a question most people never ask. Why do some people stay single for years after heartbreak, while others find someone new almost immediately? The obvious answer is personality, but psychology suggests something deeper. Not everyone experiences loneliness the same way. Imagine two people sitting alone in identical apartments. Same silence, same empty rooms, same Friday night. One person feels peaceful, the other feels like they're suffocating. Nothing changed outside, everything changed inside. That's because loneliness isn't always about being alone. It's about losing emotional regulation. When we're emotionally attached to someone, our brains begin outsourcing certain forms of stability. Their voice lowers our stress. Their touch calms our nervous system. Even their presence can reduce anxiety without a single word being spoken. Over time, your brain starts treating another person almost like part of its own emotional operating system. Then they're gone. Now the brain has to perform every emotional function by itself again. And for many people, it has forgotten how to. This explains something that confuses so many after a breakup. They don't necessarily miss their ex every minute. Sometimes what they miss is who they were when their ex was around. That feeling of emotional certainty, of belonging, of having someone who knew their inner world. A rebound partner can temporarily recreate pieces of that experience. New conversations, new affection, new excitement, new validation. For a while, the brain mistakes relief for recovery, but relief and healing are not the same thing. And the difference between those two words may determine whether the next relationship becomes a foundation or another fracture. Because the most dangerous part of a rebound relationship isn't that it begins too soon, it's why it begins. When the brain confuses relief with love. Imagine you've been carrying a heavy backpack for miles. Your shoulders ache, your legs burn. Every step feels harder than the last. Then someone takes the backpack off. The feeling that follows is incredible. You feel lighter, freer, almost euphoric. But here's the catch. You didn't become stronger. The weight simply disappeared. This is one of the biggest psychological illusions behind rebound relationships. After a painful breakup, emotional pain becomes the brain's new normal. Every day feels like resistance. Every memory drains energy. Every quiet moment invites another wave of grief. Then someone new appears. They laugh at your jokes. They text you first. They make you feel seen again. Suddenly, the emotional pressure eases, and the brain makes a dangerous assumption. If the pain stopped, this must be love. But love and relief activate the mind in very different ways. Relief removes discomfort. Love creates connection. The two can exist together, but they're not the same experience. Yet the brain often struggles to tell them apart, especially when it's emotionally deprived. This is why rebound relationships can feel unbelievably intense. People often say, "I've never opened up to anyone this quickly. We've only known each other for 2 weeks, but it feels like years. We spend every day together." From the outside, it looks like passion. Inside the brain, it's often urgency. The faster the relationship becomes emotionally consuming, the less room there is for grief to speak. But grief is patient. It doesn't disappear because you've become busy. It waits. And eventually, when the excitement settles, when daily life becomes ordinary again, when the dopamine rush fades, the emotions you postponed quietly return. Sometimes stronger than before. Because emotions that are buried are not erased, they're stored. And eventually, the brain asks for its debt to be paid.
Why some rebound relationships actually last? By now, it would be easy to believe that every rebound relationship is doomed. That if someone starts dating too soon after a breakup, the relationship is built on a lie. But psychology tells a more complicated story. And human beings are rarely that simple. Imagine two people who both begin new relationships 1 month after ending long-term ones. From the outside, they look identical. Same timing, same excitement, same social media photos. Yet one relationship falls apart within months, while the other lasts decades. So what changed? The calendar didn't. The brain did. One person entered the relationship to escape pain. The other entered it after understanding their pain. Those may sound similar, but psychologically, they're worlds apart. See, healing isn't measured by how much time has passed. It's measured by how much truth you've faced. Did you reflect on why the relationship ended? Did you acknowledge your role without drowning in guilt? Did you grieve what was lost instead of pretending nothing happened? Did you rebuild your identity outside of being someone's partner? These questions matter because heartbreak doesn't just end a relationship, it fractures an identity. For months or years, you weren't just you. You were someone's person, someone's safe place, someone's routine, someone's future. When that disappears, the brain isn't only asking, "Who do I love now?" It's asking, "Who am I now?" People who answer that second question before chasing the first often build healthier relationships because they're choosing someone, not choosing an escape. And that's the difference. A rebound built on fear says, "Complete me." A healthy relationship says, "Walk beside me." The words may never be spoken, but the brain knows the difference. The quiet signs someone is still emotionally attached. Here's something fascinating. People assume emotional attachment looks dramatic, crying, begging, late-night messages, obsessively checking an ex's profile. Sometimes it does, but more often, attachment hides in silence. Imagine someone who insists they've completely moved on. They smile whenever the topic comes up. They even joke about their ex. Everything appears normal until one small thing happens. A mutual friend casually mentions the ex's new relationship. For a split second, their expression changes. Not dramatically, just enough. Their smile stiffens, their breathing slows, their eyes drift away. Then they quickly change the subject. That tiny moment reveals something powerful. The conscious mind said, "I'm over it." The nervous system quietly disagreed. The body often exposes emotions before words do. This is why psychologists pay attention to not only what people say, but to what their behavior repeatedly reveals. Someone still emotionally attached may constantly compare new partners to their ex. They may idealize the past or obsessively criticize it. Oddly enough, both behaviors can signal unresolved attachment because emotionally neutral memories rarely demand constant attention. There's another sign people often miss. Pay attention to urgency. When someone feels the need to prove they're happy, to prove they're thriving, to prove they've upgraded, ask yourself, who are they trying to convince? The world, their ex, or themselves? Real healing is surprisingly quiet. It doesn't need witnesses. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need to perform. Because peace rarely announces itself. It simply exists. And this leads to perhaps the most misunderstood emotion of all, closure. The truth about closure that nobody wants to hear. People spend years waiting for one conversation, one apology, one explanation, one final message, believing it will finally set them free. But here's what neuroscience suggests. Closure isn't something another person gives you. It's something your brain gradually constructs. Think about a book that ends without explaining every mystery. At first, it's frustrating. Your mind keeps inventing endings, replaying scenes, searching for hidden clues. Eventually, you stop searching. not because every question was answered, but because your brain accepted that some never will be. Relationships often end the same way. You may never know why someone changed, why they stopped trying, why they moved on so quickly, why they said forever and meant something shorter. The human brain hates uncertainty. It would rather believe a painful story than accept an incomplete one. That's why people invent explanations. I wasn't enough. They never loved me. Everyone leaves. These stories feel satisfying because they end the uncertainty, but satisfying doesn't mean true. Healing begins when the brain stops demanding certainty from the past and starts creating stability in the present. And once that happens, something remarkable changes. The need to replace someone begins to disappear. The hidden battle no one sees. The next time you see someone enter a new relationship days after a breakup, don't rush to judge. You don't know whether you're witnessing healing, avoidance, or survival. The human brain is astonishingly intelligent, but when it's frightened, it doesn't always chase what's healthy. It chases what feels familiar, what feels safe, what promises immediate relief. Sometimes that's another person. Sometimes it's distraction. Sometimes it's denial. The tragedy is that many people mistake movement for progress. They believe that because they're moving forward, they must be healing. But you can run for miles and still be carrying the same wound. Real healing is quieter than most people expect. It happens in ordinary moments. The evening you resist texting someone who can only numb your loneliness. The afternoon you finally sit with uncomfortable emotions instead of escaping them. The morning you realize your happiness no longer depends on one person's attention. Those moments rarely appear on social media. No one applauds them. No one sees them. Yet they are the moments that quietly rewire the brain. And maybe that's the biggest misunderstanding of rebound relationships. The real question isn't how fast did they move on? It's what were they running from? Because every rebound relationship tells two stories, the one everyone can see and the one unfolding silently inside the mind. Only one of those stories determines whether the relationship becomes another temporary escape or the beginning of genuine love. And perhaps the most unsettling realization of all is that before judging someone else's rebound, it's worth asking yourself one question. If loneliness knocked on your door tonight, would you welcome healing or simply invite the first distraction that made the silence disappear? If this video made you see heartbreak from a different perspective, then you've already taken the first step most people never do, understanding the mind before judging its behavior. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Do you believe rebound relationships are mostly a way of escaping pain, or do you think they can become genuine love? Share your perspective in the comments. Some of the most insightful discussions happen there. And if you're fascinated by the hidden psychology behind love, attachment, manipulation, and the unconscious patterns that quietly shape our lives, subscribe, because sometimes understanding the mind changes the way you see every relationship you'll ever have.